Sometimes you get an opportunity to represent somebody at just the right time and be able to provide good news and good information, and I think make a proposal that, to me, as an outsider, I can't see how it's not going to be something that should get a positive reception. So it's with pleasure that on behalf of John Gerlach, I submitted an offer for purchase of the old watershed property that's in the town of Chittenden. The offer that was made is identical to what the appraisal was, despite the fact that I argued with my client that I thought the appraisal had some issues, and from my experience, that paying more than $800 an acre for this kind of property seemed to be a pretty high number. I said, the fact that you're not going to have any real estate commission, you're not even deducting any amount for real estate commission. He said, I want to make an offer that they can't refuse if they want to sell the property. He said, I bought this other piece of property that adjoins it. He said, I would like to have this piece of property because it adjoins an existing piece of property that I own, and therefore it is of great interest. I have the ability to be able to write a check for it, pay for it. It's not subject to financing. It is simply an offer that if you find it acceptable, you have a need to get rid of and not pay taxes in another town for a piece of property that you're not using, and you could use $1.5 million as soon as you can satisfy the statutory requirements, which, as I read the statutory requirements, say that you could sign and execute the offer whenever you wanted. He did put it for a limited amount of time because he doesn't want to have it out there forever. He wants to give you some time to be able to look at it, but it has a deadline of November 15th. He would like to see what it is. Then you would begin to run through the process of indicating you would like to sell it for that. He would do his due diligence on boundary lines. He already has spoken to a surveyor. We would do all the title work. There's 30 days in which, if anyone objects, they've got to have people to come in, and then you might have a town vote, but you might not. I represent lots of school districts that have sold buildings. We run through the same process all the time. When you have a board that wants to sell a piece of property, you believe the price you're getting is the fair market value, and in this case, I believe you're actually getting more than the fair market value that's out there. You can check it in any way you want. Because there is no real estate commission, because it's a cash deal, you could get this closed and completed before town meeting day. And it would, I think, provide a huge influx of cash that you could decide what was the right way that you would want to be able to handle this, and you would no longer have the liability expense connected with the watershed property. If there is something in the contract, we tried to make it what I call a bare bones kind of contract and offer to make it as simple and straightforward. If there is or are any issues that your lawyer raises, I am totally prepared to be able to try to resolve that so that we could get a signed agreement before the 15th of November. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, any issues that you might have, concerns. John extends his interest in this. He's sorry he can't be here, but he isn't here at the moment. I'm here to speak for him and see exactly what we can put together to try to see if this works. Sometimes, as I say, the stars get aligned. Your interest in selling the property, having somebody who just recently bought another piece of property that's adjacent to it, they're willing to pay a price that you probably would not get if you put it out on the market and tried to sell it. And how long it might take to sell a piece of property like this would be much longer. So I just throw it out to you and let you try to see if there are any questions or anything that I can answer to help with the offer. We got the offer in so that you would all be able to take a look at it, so I could be able to answer any questions that people might have.
I don't have any questions. I think we should probably talk in executive session about this at the end of the evening.
Stan, did you do a, because the only income we get from this is timber, right?
Yes,
And that was about $250,000 every 3 years?
yeah.
And that's the only value it brings to us?
That's the only asset we get out of it.
Right.
We pay
And we pay the
$4,000.
taxes.
We pay $4,000 a year taxes
Okay.
to the tax, or the current use. So it's,
And in terms of logging, I want to say some of the comparisons on other pieces of property, they were known sugar bushes that sold for $1,000 an acre, established known sugar bushes with high-quality trees. The more you log it, the less the value becomes for somebody who's looking at land like this. I apologize. So I think that the price is there. You wouldn't be able to get $250,000 every 3 years off the piece of property indefinitely. It certainly has its limitations. I've walked the property myself because I know the adjoining piece. I've hunted the property. I've walked in it. I know how tough and rugged it is. And I don't know how many of you folks have been there and how much and how difficult it is for logging and being able to get logs out. So you've got a forester I know who can give you whatever you need to have on that valuation, but I still believe that this is a real high value for this piece of property, regardless of its timber that might be on it.
Yeah, I think one of the things we would, it might be questioned down the road that, so we are waiting for that appraisal from Hutchinson's, Andy Hutchinson on that, and I think that probably is one of the things. I know Alan had a couple of questions on the contract, but I don't think we probably can give you an answer
No,
tonight, but.
I was not expecting
yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I was expecting that if you gave instructions to your lawyer, we're quickly able to respond in a prompt fashion to be able to try to find out where we are, so we could come up with a program, and my client would know what he's gonna be doing, whether he goes one way or he goes another way.
Sure. No,
Again, my pleasure, and I look forward to whatever interaction we can put together to see if we can get this accomplished.
Thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Can I ask a question of the board with respect to this proposal? Is this money only available to be used for water? If the property should be sold, the money would have to remain in an investment portfolio for water?
I don't believe that's been, we haven't really talked about that, so I don't.
Well, if the timber can only be used for water, if you sell watershed property, are you saying the money could be invested and go into, for general fund expenses?
Well, I think that's a question for Alan.
Yes, I think we need to
So have
talk.
questions been proposed to Alan?
Not yet.
No,
I mean,
no.
this is the first we've been able to really talk about, except that we're
Yes,
interested in
so
selling.
we're in the very first time that we've had it before us, so we
Well,
will be
talked at the
talking
last
about it.
meeting about it. It was brought up at the last meeting, and
Well-
the number was given at the last meeting. My other question is, if it should sell for this, what would you do with the money? Would the money be put in a portfolio? And who would manage the portfolio?
Lisa, we
Because
haven't-
you-
We haven't discussed it between us.
Okay, so I'm
Them-
putting it out there as
Yes,
informed
fine.
questions for Alan, because if you currently pay $4,000 in taxes, you certainly will pay more than that in a management portfolio for 1.5 or even $1 million. So listening to this proposal, questions I would like to have asked then of Alan, can the money be used to pay down the bond? Do taxpayers have the ability to vote about where this windfall should come? Or does that simply stay with the select board? If it is put in a portfolio, who oversees the portfolio? Are you hiring a management firm, and how are you assessing that? And I would hope that more conversation is held in open session, not just in executive session.
Thank you.
And I know at the last meeting that we had, that we talked about this, we did talk about the investment of it, investing it, because we were gonna do a comparison as far as if we invest it, will our returns be worth the $250,000 every 3 years that we get, you know, to, and how do you,
So,
balance those values, so.
yeah, so
I know.
we've got a lot more to talk about, and we will be dealing with these questions
sure.
and concerns before we do it, I'm sure. So, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Chicken.
Did you want to go into executive session to talk about the watershed, or wait till we get more
I
information?
thought we were gonna wait until we heard from
Yeah, I
you.
think that's,
Get the forester's report.
yeah,
I think so.
And so all those questions too that were raised tonight though about that, can you put those out to him too, so we can get that together, so we'll have more to base our,
What can we use the money for?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got,
And where will it be
I've got
invested?
some ideas, but I would like to
right, and where it would be
put
invested,
it
things like
into
that.
executive session rather than.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if we don't
Because then
understand
somebody
it
would
now,
think
then.
it is, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing we have to do in executive session is if we want to have a conversation of whether we do or don't want to buy.
Yeah.
Right,
I think everything else should be done, you know.
Been open?
Yep.
Okay, well, good.
I think so too.
So my suggestions on how to manage it, I've got some ideas, but I haven't got it firmed up.
right.
Yeah,
Well, we don't need to tonight, but, yeah, the only real thing I want to keep between us is just what direction we're heading, so that we don't tip our hand.
The one is whether you want to sell it, two is what you do with the money.
Right?
yeah,
And once we have the
Totally
answers about where we can use it, or are we
Yeah.
restricted?
You know, as I say, I need to get another opinion. I have my own opinion, but I think I've expressed it before, is this water department money, because
Right.
that's where it's
Yeah.
always gone.
and
But
get in and
And who has
use
to
it.
make the decision?
Yeah.
If you were to set up a fund, quote, fund, like the streetlight fund and like the whatever else, highway equipment fund, then you need the voters to approve the establishment of the fund.
Yeah.
And that may
Okay,
be,
yeah.
and that, you know, that would separate it out from the general revenue fund.
Would the voters have to do that, though, if if it was basically said that if we sell this property and the funds go directly into the water fund still? They wouldn't have to re-vote that, right? Because it already
No, I
exists.
wouldn't think so,
Yeah, the property belongs to the town.
Right.
yeah,
It doesn't belong to the water department, it's just.
Right.
that's
Yeah.
That's the way
where
it was
It's
set up
just,
for
yeah.
funding. Okay,
And I think, you know, the point is, you've got bonded indebtedness is it to take care of
right.
our bond expenses
Right.
as a designated purpose. So I think that's one thing that you need to deal with. And then put it before the voters that, yes, we accepted the offer, nobody complained, we
Yeah.
took the $1.5 million. This is what we're proposing to do with it, and then let them vote on it.
Okay.
but maybe even put it in both the water and the sewer thing,
That would be nice, yes.
Yeah.
Used either or.
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
That's what I think.
We do have
Because,
a
you know,
coming up.
And we do have bonds to pay.
We do have one today. So let's get those answers and then we'll
yeah,
move to adjourn.
yes.
Second that.